Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a fun one. I'm sharing with you guys my top 10 high-end makeup products in all categories. If hypothetically someone came to me and said you can only keep 10 of your high-end makeup products, what would you pick? These are the products that I would pick. I'll give you a little spoiler. 4 of them are eyeshadow palettes, and the rest, I think that you might be surprised by some of the things that I did and did not select. These are products that I don't feel like have alternatives or comparables at the drugstore, whether that be the formulas, the colors, the product itself. These are all like the best of the best. So I'm sure you're curious to see what I picked. Before we jump into it though, a very special welcome to any of you that are new visitors here. Very happy to have you here at my channel. I hope that you enjoy this video today. And if you do, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe before you leave. And with that intro out of the way, let's get into it. Alright you guys, so we're going to jump right in. Let's start with one thing that I think I've known for a long time. Like, this is one of my very prized possessions in my makeup collection. Everything about it just screams high-end, quality, luxury. It performs amazingly well, and it is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I am wearing this on my skin today, both as a primer underneath, just in like the T-zone area where I would need highlighter, also as a highlighter on top of my foundation. And it is such a beautiful product. I've said that for a long time. It is quite pricey, but honestly, I've tried a lot of products that have allegedly duped or tried to dupe this, and I just have not found anything that has come close, not just to the packaging, but the product inside. I think that's what's most surprising about this. I mean, it looks beautiful, the bottle's beautiful, it feels very high-end and luxurious, but the actual product itself is so incredibly smooth and creamy, and it's luminous in this very sheer, like microscopic pearlescent way that I don't know, it just is kind of in a class of its own. Sorry, I know the sun's a little bit bright right now, but man, you guys, I just love this stuff so much. I need to use it more often. I've had it for like over 2 years, and I'm probably not even halfway done with this bottle. I still kind of save it for special occasions, but I'm getting better. I have been using it more as a highlighter more recently, and actually, when I first bought this, again, a couple of years ago, they didn't offer a smaller size, but they have a mini bottle of this, which if you do use this as a highlighter, I would actually recommend getting the mini because I will probably never use this whole thing up. It's gorgeous. It's lovely. One of the best products in my collection, by the way. I use the shade number 2, and I absolutely love this stuff. For my second pick, unlike the Charlotte Tilbury, which I've had that for a while, this one is relatively new to me, but this is one of those products that the moment that I first used it, it was love at first use. I am talking about the Pat McGrath Divine Blush and Glow Trio. This one is in Galactic Sun. I am so incredibly impressed with these blushes. They are absolutely beautiful. They're perfect shades for me. I think there is another version of this trio on their website. I think another color version for those with more medium to deep skin tones, but this is so incredible. Now, I've mentioned this so many times because I've been talking about this trio a lot lately. I don't love the highlighter so much. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite highlighter by any means. I think there's a lot of drugstore highlighters I like better than this, but I'm telling you guys, just these 2 blushes alone make this thing worth picking in my top 10. I love it so much. It's beautiful. The packaging is lovely, and the formulas and colors of these are exquisite. They have the perfect amount of pigmentation. They have the subtlest, beautiful glow to them that just looks so pretty and natural on the skin, but doesn't emphasize texture in any way. Such a huge fan of this. The price tag kept me away from trying these out for a really long time, but I'm glad that I finally did because this was totally worth the high price tag that I paid for it. For my third pick, I had to go with the Patrick Ta bronzer duo. This one is in the She Sculpted version. I knew I wanted to pick a bronzer. There were a couple that were in the running. It was between this one and the Fenty cream bronzer. I love that one so much, but I ended up going with this one because I love this cream bronzer just as much as the Fenty, and this one also gives me a powder bronzer. This is such a gorgeous product. I love this cream bronzer. It's one of the most creamy and emollient ones that I own, but it's not greasy on my skin. It goes on and blends so easily, so beautifully, whether I use a brush, a sponge, or even just my finger. This is amazing. I love it. Now, the powder bronzer, if you want your bronzer to really last, this is great to top it with. This powder bronzer I have to be a little light-handed with though, because it is, I think this is the medium version. There is one lighter, but this one can be a little bit deep on me if I'm at my fairest, so I have to be a little bit more light-handed, but even still, it works great for me. The formula is amazing. The packaging's great. I just really, really enjoyed this product. The fourth product I had to pick is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze. This was a recommendation from some of you guys that left me some of your favorite Holy Grail status recommendations over on Instagram. I actually have tried quite a few of them out, but this one I think is my very favorite of the bunch, even though I've enjoyed a lot of them. This is just such a unique product. I haven't tried anything else like this from the drugstore. It's kind of like a wax, but it's also kind of like a hair gel, but it doesn't dry down sticky or crunchy, but it holds a little bit better than just a standard wax, say like the e.l.f. Shave and Stay wax stick that I'm always talking about. It's such a unique and interesting product. I love the texture that this gives my brows and how well it holds my brows. It gives them that almost kind of sort of wet and stiff looking brow without them actually getting stiff, but it holds up all day. So generally how I use this, I'll actually brush my brows up and fill them in, and then just kind of take a little bit of this between my fingers and kind of press it into my brows and then kind of rebrush them up to set them in place. But actually I used it a little bit differently today. I went in with this first, then I brushed up my brows and I lightly filled them in kind of on top of the brow freeze and then just kind of brushed them up to set them in place. And I actually liked that version as well. I think this gives my brows the most perfect texture. It doesn't look overly wet. I know I've been talking about how I kind of like the look of a wet brow. This one's not going to make them look wet, but it's going to give them the same definition as some of my more wet looking brow gels that I really love. So I guess you could say it's kind of the best of both worlds. I love this stuff. I use it all the time. I think I've had it my last 3 Shop My Stashes that I've done. I haven't taken it out yet. And again, I did a Shop My Stash this morning, or filmed that this morning, and it's in there once again, and will probably just stay on top of my desk from now until the time that it's gone. All right, where were we? Number 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, number 5. So my number 5 pick had to go with the Thrive Cosmetics mascara. I've been raving about this mascara for a couple of years now. It is especially my holy grail mascara in the spring and summer and fall when I'm spending a lot of time outdoors, when my eyes are watering like crazy. I've titled this my sports mascara. If I am watching my kids play sports, especially if that involves taking any pictures, my eyes water like crazy, especially in the springtime. There's often a cold, stiff breeze when you're watching sports in Utah in the spring that I imagine would make anyone's eyes water. It's been a struggle for me to find a good mascara for those situations for so long, really for like the last 10 years. And then this product right here came into my life a couple of years ago. It was a gift from my sister and it changed my life forever. This solves all of my problems with watery eyes and mascaras. It holds up really well to my watery eyes. How many times can I say watery eyes in one little segment? I'll try and stop saying it. But it's not a traditional waterproof mascara. There's a lot of waterproof mascaras that can hold up to, oh, I wanted to say it again, but I'm not going to, the elements. But I don't generally like waterproof mascaras because they're a little bit rough on my eyelashes. They're hard to remove at night, and sometimes they can dry down to where they're really stiff and they feel really uncomfortable on the lashes. This feels like a traditional mascara. It doesn't stiffen too much, like it doesn't feel like really heavy on your lashes, but it removes so easily at night, but it stays in place when my eyes start to water. Oh, there I go again. And on top of all of that, it's a great performing mascara. It gives you really good length. I think it gives you better length than it does volume. It's not my most volumizing mascara, but it gives you incredible length, incredible separation. It is the one that I'm wearing on my eyes today. I'm actually ready to replace this tube. It's kind of getting there. Like, it was a little bit clumpy to put on today, which is the test for this one. I cannot keep this mascara for more than 6 to 9 months because it does start to get a little bit clumpy, but I still think it's totally worth it. I don't often feel that way about high-end mascaras, but this one I absolutely do. For number 6, my last product before we get to the eyeshadow palettes, of course we're saving those for the end, and for that I had to go with the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat Lip Liner, this one in the shade Iconic Nude. I've been raving about these lip liners for a good year now. I keep saying that I haven't found anything to last as well as these. There might be other high-end lip liners out there that last as well as these and perform as well as these. I have had some recommendations from you guys, but honestly I don't feel the need to try any because these just do such an amazing job that I would absolutely have to pick one of these. And that's coming from someone that, again, sometimes gets annoyed when I have to spend $5 or $6 on a drugstore lip liner. There was a time a couple of years ago that I wasn't really into lip liners, but as I've gotten a little bit older, as I'm getting some fine lines around my lips, and I feel like my lips, I don't know, do your lips actually get smaller as you age? I kind of feel like they maybe do, but more and more I've come to rely on a good lip liner. I think it's like an absolute essential. If I don't wear a lip liner, my lips just don't look very good, which makes me look kind of older, or as old as I actually am. But it is hard to find lip liners that last really well. This one lasts so long. It is absolutely budge proof. And by the way, the color of this one I love so much. I also have Pillow Talk, but this one I like because it goes with absolutely anything. It's a little bit on the deep side, but I like this because when I smudge it out and kind of press it into my lips, it kind of gets rid of that like really dark look, but also gives me the definition that I feel like I really need. Amazing. Very pricey product for how small it is and how I imagine quickly I'll probably run through this thing, but I still think it's worth it. All right, we're down to my last 4, all of which are eyeshadow palettes. This was actually not as hard as I thought it would be. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad this is just a hypothetical situation, because if I could only pick 4 of my high-end eyeshadow palettes, that would be very sad. Even still, I feel pretty confident in my choices. Let's start off with the one that I'm actually wearing on my eyes today. And that's this one right here. It's the Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette. Now this one I know is not very mainstream. You have to buy this one online, but it is pricey. It's $52 and worth every one of those $52. I love this palette so much. I have several Sydney Grace eyeshadow palettes that I really enjoy. I'd have a hard time parting with those if I had to, but even still this one was a pretty easy pick if I had to pick just one, because this gives me everything that I would need in an eyeshadow palette. It gives me lots of soft pinks that are really beautiful, some good neutrals, a couple pops of color, and some absolutely stellar metallics. If you've seen any of my videos before, you probably know how much I love the Sydney Grace metallics, but this palette includes some of her very best metallics. I absolutely love them. So today I'm actually wearing these three pinks right here. I have a little bit of this pink. It's kind of like a shell pink, but this one, it's not quite as metallic, but it's super icy. That's what I have on my inner corner, kind of up here through that little socket right there. I popped a little bit of this shimmery purple on the outer half of the lid. I darkened up the crease with this deep purple right here, and then added just a little bit of that brown to kind of smoke things out, and I really like that combination. I've never come out of using this palette and not been absolutely thrilled with every look that I've created with it. I love it so much. Fantastic quality. By the way, the size of these eyeshadows, I mean, just check these out. I think I did look into it once, and I want to say these have like double what like a MAC eyeshadow would have, or a ColourPop eyeshadow. Don't quote me on that, but I remember I was surprised at like, wow, there is a lot of product inside here. So easy favorite, one of the first ones that I thought of, and one that I could not live without. For my seventh pick, another eyeshadow palette that I could not part with is my Natasha Denona Glam palette. I love all my Natasha Denona palettes, but this one, there's just something special about this palette, especially for the neutral lover. I might feel less hesitant to pick this one if I didn't get some color in a couple of the other palettes that I have, including the one that I just picked. I feel like those give me like a splash of color if I really want it, but I love a good neutral, and this palette gives you some of the most beautiful, coolish neutrals that I've ever tried. I know they don't, I feel like I say this every time I pull this palette out, but I look at it in my viewfinder, I'm always like, it looks so like you took a colored picture and turned it to black and white. Like there's not a lot of variety in here, but I'm telling you guys, if you've played with this thing, if you're into neutrals, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So many good transition shades, perfect amount of smoky shades to deepen out the outer corner, some beautiful lid shades, even some darker, smokier shimmers if you want to do a nice cool toned smoky eye. It's a pretty penny, I know, but honestly, if I lost this palette, I actually would go repurchase this one right away because I love it so much. Next up is also from Natasha Denona, and a much smaller one, but I would have to go with my Natasha Denona Mini Nude. Now, seems maybe a little odd to pick a mini eyeshadow palette when I'm only picking 10 when I want to go for something a little bit bigger, but there are a lot of times where I like taking something like this traveling with me, even just for little weekend getaways, which is most of the traveling that I do. But I use these little mini palettes all the time, and I think this would have to be, I think, my favorite. It was between this and the retro palette, and maybe the new mini Biba palette. Oh man, you guys, here I go. But no, I went with this one because I love the warm looks that come out of this, and you can't go wrong with a warm bronzy eye look, and this gives me some of the prettiest warm bronzy eye looks, and I have a lot of warm browns in my collection, but there is something special about this, especially when I'm traveling. I just think you can't go wrong with the neutrals. So this is the one that I picked. I love all of these little mini palettes. I think they're all so great. I know they're pricey for what you get, $25, but again, for Natasha Denona, for something really travel friendly, really nice sturdy packaging, always great performance. You can't go wrong with these, and I think this would have to be my top pick. So had to go with this one. This would definitely be in my top 10. And that leaves us with number 10. What did I pick for my last selection? I had to go with my Pat McGrath palette. I know I complained about how pricey this was, and I still feel that way. Every time I pick this palette in some sort of like ranking video, I'm always like, $125. Who would ever pay that? I didn't even pay that for this. I got it on sale, but I still spent a lot of money on it. And there is still a small part of me that thinks if I never would have bought this, it wouldn't be in this video, and I probably would have been okay with that, but because I did buy it, and now that I've tried it, I can't deny that it's good, and I couldn't just part with it because I did already spend that money. So, obnoxiously pricey, but it is fantastic. I love the colors in here. The formulas are really exceptional. They're really unique. You get some shimmers in here that are unlike any other shimmers that I think I've ever tried. Really nice mattes in here as well. I love that you get a cool toned dark brown, a lighter transition shade, and also this red right here. So if you want something warm and smoky, you can go with a combination of the red and the dark brown, you guys. Something glorious happens when you combine a shade like this with a shade like this. It turns it this like warm, kind of rusty, but rich kind of purple. It's gorgeous, but also if you wanted to just stick with the cool tones, you could do this and like the purple and the champagne, and that would give you a really beautiful cool tone look. Really nice color story with this one. I love that you get a green, you get some traditional bronzes, you get two shimmers for the lid that I think are lovely. actually in even a yellow that's not too brassy or too yellow. It's a really fun one to pop on your lid if you're looking for something really nice and warm and kind of sunny. And we just have to briefly mention the packaging. I mean, I would never say go spend $125 just to fill this packaging, but if you felt these, you guys know what I'm talking about. Nothing feels like this. Even my Natasha Denona, which I think are great packaging, do not feel like this. I mean, this thing feels like $1,000,000, so it's only $125. I'm kidding. I still think this thing is priced super high, but it is absolutely incredible and one that I would have a hard time letting go of now that I own it and have tried it. And that's it, you guys. Those are my top 10 picks. If I could only pick 10 high-end makeup products, these are the ones that I would pick. You might have noticed that I didn't put a concealer in here. I didn't put a foundation in here. What else did I miss out? I didn't put a traditional highlight in here. I had some that were like I almost picked, but again, I had to narrow things down. I knew I wanted a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I ended up just kind of thinking that when it comes to foundations and concealers, although I have a lot of high-end ones that I really love, I also have a lot at the drugstore that I really love as well, that I could be perfectly happy with. But each of these products I feel like have something really special or really unique about them that I would have a hard time parting with. So that's why I picked these selections. What do you guys think? You think I'm crazy for not picking a foundation or a concealer? Would you guys pick those things? What would be like your top 2 picks? If you could only say pick 2, I'd love to know what those would be. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I love filming these kind of hypothetical videos. I think they're so fun. This one was a little bit different. I'd love to know if any of you guessed some of these right. I would bet that maybe some of you got a couple of these right, because I think some of them I probably raved about enough that you knew that they were coming. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys again for stopping by. I hope that you guys are doing well. Let me give you one last reminder. If you haven't yet subscribed, make sure that you do that before you leave. But that is all for now. Thanks again, you guys. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye. I actually almost picked my Power Up mascara from Butter London, but I knew I had to pick Thrive. We're just, our relationship's too new. Plus you came out of the garbage, so I've got to let that one go. We need to give that one a break. Because every time I bring up that mascara, I feel like I need to bring up that story. And then I bring up the story like part way, and those of you that didn't see the video where I talked about the Power Up mascara and how it came into my life are wondering like, what is she talking about?
Did you hear my piano upstairs?
I was beautiful, but I'm doing a video, so can you play after I'm done? It was really pretty though.
I just lost. Can I play one more?
No, because I got to do my video, and my microphone can hear it because the piano is just right there above the ceiling right there. So wait till I'm done, okay? And with that intro, allegedly duped or videos. Thank goodness they're hypothetical, although inflation, I don't know, I might have to sell all of my makeup. That's not funny, Mandy.